welcome back to Naomi's Bookshelf, and here I am with another day of Bookmas, day 21, and today we are talking about the worst books of the year. Now, I'm going to do this as I did with my biggest books of the year and shortest books of the year, and my most surprising and best and all those things. Everything is going to count from the first of the year all the way to November 30th. As I am not including December's books in any of these stats, I will be including them in next year's wrap-ups, though, from the same kind of thing. So, in case you're wondering if I read any bad books in December, they will not be on this list. So, we're going to start off with the worst books I read this year. I actually had a really good reading year, and I didn't have many bad books. As I was trying to do my top 10, or my worst 10, it was like most of these were actually not bad books. They weren't for me, or they didn't hit the spot. So I decided to do a top 5 of the worst this year. All of these were books I did not enjoy. All of these books I really just didn't get. And some of these books I was like, why is that even popular? We'll see. So the first one on my list, the 5th book on my list is one that is not, it's just not my genre, honestly. And that was probably a big downfall of it, but I also don't like the way it was formatted. That tends not to be something that I'm trying to branch out into. And this book is Paper Girls by Brian Vaughan. Now this one, I didn't really like the whole scientific elements. I also am not a big graphic novel reader. I do enjoy some graphic novels, but this one just was a dud for me. It wasn't an awful book. I gave it 2 stars. I just felt like I'm the wrong audience, and so it barely squeaked into my bottom 5 of the year, but like I said, I had a good reading year, so this was just a book that wasn't for me. I just happened to rate lower than the other ones that were not for me. The next one that is number 4 on my list might be a bit of a controversial pick, but it is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I read this for the Book Junkie Trials back in July, and I didn't like it. I was basically forcing myself to read this book because I had it from the library, and I just didn't want to give up. And it was, the whole time I was reading it, I was really unhappy with it. I just did not like it. I don't know what else to say. I thought that the plot was confusing. I didn't really understand what was going on sometimes, and I just felt lost in a muddle. I have figured out since reading that Neil Gaiman's writing style is just not for me. I read The Ocean at the End of the Lane, and I thought it was okay. I kind of liked it, but I also was like, something's off with it, and I don't love it. And I think it's been proven with this now that I just don't like Neil Gaiman's writing style. So that is something that I am going to avoid in the future, even though I do understand that he is a great storyteller. I just don't, it's not for me. So I definitely gave it 2 stars because I really didn't like it, and I was forcing myself to read it. Book number 3 on my list of worst of the year is Warlight by Michael Ondaatje. I didn't like this book at all. I mean, it's the worst books of the year, so I guess that's obvious. But this one was just so confusing, and it felt like there was no point. I was drudging my way through the book. I would never remember where I was in the book. It just confused me so much, and I honestly got so little value out of it, I only finished it for book club. I mean, at book club, then I started to get a bit more value, but not much. And I gave it 2 stars again. I really it fell so flat for me. I really didn't understand why it was nominated for awards, why he's I mean, I haven't read more of his work, so I can't say that his other work is just as bad, but I just really didn't get it. Maybe that's just my problem, but it was like my whole book club didn't get it. We all were like, what was going on in this book? And it was just confusing. So yeah, I don't even know what to say about it. It's about the war, or just after the war, and like criminals, and I don't know. It was confusing, and I'm really not sure where everything lies in that, so yeah, definitely not a pick of mine. The next one is one that I was really hoping to like because it's the author, and this is a William Shakespeare play. Surprisingly enough, it is on my worst of the year, which is kind of a shock. So this book is The Taming of the Shrew. The play is The Taming of the Shrew. I really hated it. I listened to it, I think, and I was just like, what is this book about? What is this play about? How is this okay? It is not okay. The abuse, the mental struggles, I don't even want to go into it all. I just really did not like it. And it's number 2 on my worst books of the year because it just was so hard to read, and I just couldn't believe that this was considered a comedy. Like, so mislabeled. If anything, it should have been a tragedy, but anyways. And then I read it hoping I would love it because I do really enjoy 10 Things I Hate About You, the movie that's based on it. No such luck. So, Taming of the Shrew is officially in spot number 2. Now for spot number 1, I feel like this is going to be a love or hate book, and I'm on the massive hate book. When I was reading this in August, I already knew it was going to be the worst book of the year. Just how bad it was. And I only finished it because it was such a short period of time, like such a short book. And I wanted to just do it because it was gripping, but it was also like, why am I torturing myself? I hate this book. And I will stop with the dramatic pause or whatever and tell you it is Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. Did not like this one. This one, everything about it I hated. I really hated how it had a lot of shock value moments. I hated how the characters were so awful, and I really felt like when I was reading it, like, this is supposed to be a mystery thriller, and it's neither. To me, it was just a bad family. Like, a family that's just not fun, and family that's awful to each other, nothing else. I really just didn't get it. It's just, I hated my entire experience reading it, but I finished it because it's 250 pages. So of course I have to finish it. And I'm glad I have, because now I can say safely that I unhauled my copy, and that I will no longer be reading Gillian Flynn, as her writing style is not for me. I read Gone Girl by her a long time ago, and I thought it was good, but I didn't like the shock value elements, and apparently that's just her thing. So I will not be reading any more Gillian Flynn, and it was officially the worst book of the year. So here's hoping next year I don't read something just as bad as this one, because this is probably the worst book I've ever read, much less, this year. So that's just my thoughts. I know people have different thoughts on this book as well. So please let me know down in the comments below what was your worst book of the year, or do you have a different opinion on some of these books than I do, because I'd love to talk about that with you, because everyone has different opinions, and these are not bad books in some regards, but I personally don't think I will recommend many of these books to any people. Some of them I would understand. If you like sci-fi, you might like Paper Girls, but I probably wouldn't recommend any of these, but I would like to hear why you would like to recommend them to people, because everyone has a different opinion, and that's perfect. So please subscribe if you haven't and you would like to do so, and I will see you tomorrow for another day of Bookmas. Bye for now.